up, you guys? Marty McFly coming at you, bringing you guys the Lamb of God merch. So, if you've been living under a rock or you just don't listen to this kind of music in general, maybe you didn't know that Lamb of God came out with arguably one of their best albums in years with Into Oblivion. And I have a lot of goodies to show with you guys today because when this record got released, my good old friends over there at Rust and Wax Records did a very well done record release party for this album, which I did post about on a previous video, but I'd like to show you some of the goodies that we got from this record store. And like I said, a big shout out to the guys at Rust and Wax for taking good care of us metalheads. It's quite a bit of a drive for a lot of us, but they've taken great care of us on record store release days, especially like A Day to Remember, Lamb of God. They did an amazing one with Deftones for the midnight release party. And a lot of times bands will come in on tour and they'll sign a bunch of records, and Rust and Wax doesn't charge extra. They charge whatever the RSVP is, and then you get an autograph. I mean, it's just awesome. Like, I don't really look at these autographs as a thing to sell money for. It's more like, to me, it's personal, because it's like, not only does it tell a story of the album in that time, but also you're getting an autograph of a band that you look up to, you've listened to thousands of times. And it really does make physical media more meaningful to me, at least to actually have the band's autograph on it. My stuff gets framed. I don't plan on selling them. Maybe one day, if I have some angry children running around the house that listen to metal like me, maybe they'll be able to get to hang on to these long after I'm gone. But anyway, this has been one of my favorite Lamb of God releases in a very long time. I mean, I enjoyed Omen a lot, and I did enjoy Der Moonstrang, and I enjoyed the latter era of Lamb of God, but this is such a broad brush of their discography as a whole. You have a little bit of the modern stuff, what they did with Omens, but I would say this is the closest record. Now, some people may or may not disagree, may or may not agree with me on this one, but one of my top 3 Lamb of God records, and I know everyone's like, oh God, how can you say that, is Resolution. It's by far one of my favorite Lamb of God albums, and it's so weird because I would say my number one favorite album by these guys has got to be As the Palaces Burn. That was my introduction to Lamb of God, was the first track, Ruin, and it's blossomed then from there. I mean, the amount of times I've played all of their albums, each have a different meaning to me and a different era, but I mean, it's tough because I really enjoyed New American Gospel, I enjoyed Burn the Priest, but it's like, wow, where do I put a favorite at? And I would say this is the closest album I've gotten to Resolution, which changes up my favorite list. But everything that they did on this record, you have a little bit of everything, man. You have everything from As the Palaces Burn, you have Ashes of the Wake, you got a little bit of like Resurrection in there, you got like that redneck era Lamb of God in there, and then you got the Resolution era. You have a little bit of Wrath as well, with like just the ferocity and the pissed offness. But I think there's some moments on here that just scream Resolution to me, and it's a short, sweet, concise album, and maybe this would make people turn back to that album a little bit more. Like, I'm just thinking about this now, there's some clean vocals on here that reminded me so much of the clean, jazzy vocals that the first time we had harmonies like that were on Resolution, as far as the Lamb of God discography goes. That reminded me so much of that go into this record. And then there is the quintessential Lamb of God breakdown, chugging riff ending thing that they always do on their albums that I think was lacking on 1 or 2 of their albums, like Der Moonstrang. But if you go to the Killing Floor and you hear that riff that you almost come to expect from a Lamb of God record at this point, right? Because you're going to have it on the Ashes of the Wake album. You're going to have it on Resolution. You're going to have it on Wrath. Well, the Killing Floor does it again, where it's got the big build-up with the big breakdown, and it's a chug fest until the end. And that was like, yes, Lamb of God is back. But going into El Vacío, which is the very next track, you start hearing the clean vocals that you got from Resolution. And I think that's why I love this album so much. There's even a couple moments on here. I think if you go into Blunt Force Blues, Bully, St. Catherine's Wheel, there's like what reminds me of like Cheated. And then eventually there's a big moment on this album that reminds me of King Me. Now granted, King Me, I would still put in the top 10 greatest album finishers of all time, next to Hallowed Be Thy Name, of course. And I'd say King Me has to be in the top 10 just for greatest big bombastic album finishers. But then what I really loved about this record, which I heard some people whining, complaining about, which is weird, if you go to Parasocial Christ and Sepsis, you really hear the New American Gospel, As the Palaces Burn era, the really dissonant chords, the panic chords, that early hardcore influence from the New York scene that Randy Blythe talks about so much. You get that in Sepsis and Parasocial Christ. And I like that the songs made people feel uncomfortable. Reading the comment sections of when these songs came out, people are like, "Oh, I don't know, like it. I don't know if I like it. It's so dissonant. It's still, it's not as like, it's not just your ABAB format song textures." And I'm like, yes, that's what I want. I like the fact that Sepsis doesn't make any sense at first. I like that it's dissonant and it kind of hits you wrong at first. And it's like this power struggle until you finally get to the straightforward, bluesy, Mark Morton era Lamb of God riffs. I like that they did that on this record. Sepsis is arguably one of my favorite songs on this. So is Parasocial Christ. I love the content behind Parasocial Christ. Ironic, given the time that it's content and social media is ruining everyone's lives, but that's what the song is about. And everything on this album, I mean, even going to Devise Destroy and the album finisher, it just reminds me so much of classic Lamb of God. Like, even like the finisher to like Resurrection, So, great album. If you haven't heard it, play it, sit through it. Think of Resolution and like Palaces mixed with a little bit of Ashes and like Redneck, all mixed together in a short, sweet, concise album, and that's what you get. But that's not where we're stopping. Oh, no. So like I said, my good friends at Rust and Wax Records gave us some really cool stuff. So of course you get the wristband that says Oblivion on it. Like I said, this is going to go down as one of my favorite Log records of all time. Because, I feel like everyone calls them Log at this point. I know I've been calling them Log for a long time. Now this is the 12x12 that they gave me. And a little goodie inside of it, which I had framed. So inside of this is the 12x12. This actually glows with a black light, which I'm going to be showing you shortly. But what also glows with black light, which came with the CD at Rust and Wax Records, this came with all of their CD pre-orders, was an autographed copy of a small, I think it's like is that a 4x4? Anyway, you get an autographed copy of that, and then you get the black and white glow-in-the-dark 12x12. So just some great stuff, and we're not even done yet. Next up, I got this because I pre-ordered the album from the band's website. So I got this off of lambofgod.com because I've been listening to this band since I was 14. And I thought the band was already too big. When Palaces came out, I already thought the band was going to be too big. I was never going to get a chance to meet them, never getting a chance to get anything autographed by them. Well, the band did something really cool and just a great throwback to the early heavy scene where you used to be able to get your stuff autographed just by hanging out afterwards, before, after a show. Well, here it is, guys. Autographed by the band, Lamb of God, Oblivion. This as well is a glow-in-the-dark and by Blacklight, and I, again, framed this as well. And here we got the Beast. The Beast. The glow-in-the-dark Lamb of God Oblivion sign. This is a 18 by 20. This thing is massive, and it looks awesome underneath the black light. This as well, if you pre-ordered and came in early to Rust and Wax Records, I think I got there about an hour early and waited inside the store, they gave us all of these things to take home with us. So, again, thank you to Rust and Wax Records, and thank you to Lamb of God for bringing everybody back to the record store again and just showing us a great time. And last but not least, you could have ordered this from Rust and Wax, or you could have ordered it online like I did. This is how I got my second autographed copy of it. I ordered it from the band's website. And like I said, man, this is one of the best part about this, about Lamb of God doing such a amazing, wow, look at that. So this is the lime green vinyl, looks fantastic, custom center labels, of course, sounds fantastic, sounds so clear when you actually play the record on your record player, and it comes with a wonderful 12-page booklet. So this is the booklet. It smells really good. Don't ask me why. It just smells like old books to me, and it smells wonderful. But of course, you have the 12-page booklet with your liner sheets, your liner notes, and then you got a lot of cool stuff in here. So that is essentially how that went down. Rust and Wax basically said, hey, we got a Lamb of God release party. It's going to be Saturday at 5 o'clock. Bring your stuff, show up, pre-order a copy. We have plenty of goodies for you. And I think that is one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time, where the band had this much stuff ready for people. Like Metallica did it, obviously, Deftones did it, A Day to Remember did it. And it's just so cool that bands are doing this, because not only does it help them, but it brings us back to the record store where we used to be able to go and talk shit with our friends, and you would just jam to tunes for hours. Like, you used to just hang out at the record store, and I feel like we lost that for a while. Well, thank God this new era is bringing that back. Maybe people, I don't know I hate the fact that we would call this like a retro thing. It's just a people thing. People need other people. That's what makes us different from the animals, right? Well, bringing us back to the record store again, bringing that camaraderie where we can talk shit, talk about bands. I haven't heard of this band before. Have you heard of this before? And just experiencing life together as metalheads. I'm so glad they brought that back. So that's it for me, guys. Like I said, we got a lot of goodies from Lamb of God and Rust and Wax Records. It's a phenomenal album. Check out their newest record, Oblivion. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are taking care of each other. And stay tuned. We're going to show what it looks like glowing in the dark. As you can see, this is the large poster. Glows fantastic. The 18 by 20. This is the vinyl cover. Also glows in the dark. I feel like I should have that framed too at this point, considering I've had all the other ones framed. This is the autograph copy. Also glows in the dark, but a different glow. As you remember, the previous one, all the lights light up. This one, the sign and the band title lights up, as well as some of the autographs. And last but not least, my favorite glow in the dark, which of course is the Lamb of God 12 by 12 given by Rust and Wax Records. And then the autograph title, which comes from the CD, also glows with black light. And that is it, you guys. That is Lamb of God Oblivion. Everything I got from Rust and Wax Records. Check their new album out. Check out Rust and Wax Records. They might have some stuff left over. Hope you guys are doing well, taking care of each other, and peace.